Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This video is going to be, I think, we talked about the storage in Android, we talked about the text file, we talked about basic understanding what a SQL relational database is. So this is going to be one of many videos of writing some code with SQLite. So first thing is first, I'm going to go in here and get rid of this hello world. I created my database or my application called it database, whatever. So I'm going to go under Java here, right click, and we're going to create a new package. And where's package? Right here. And I'm going to put it in the main Java location, and I will just call it database or data. Hit OK. So now it should live in here. I'm actually going to change this to data instead of database. So let's refactor it. So if you right click on database and go down to refactor, and we could just click rename, and I'm just going to call it data. All right, perfect. Let's see here, what else? I need another one, and this one right here, I'm going to create another package, right click on it, I'm going to call it, all right, after that, I'm going to call it model. Hit OK, perfect. Now, I'm going to right click on the model, and we're going to create a new class. And I'm going to call this contact, because we're going to create contact list. Create this contact class and just hit OK for now. All right, perfect. So we have our package, we have our contacts. If you've ever learned Java from like CIT 111 or 130, whatever the case is, then you've probably come across this. All right, so what we're going to do is come down here. We're going to create constructor, and these will be like our initialization variables. So we'll have private int ID. So int is integer. We're going to have string, and we'll have name, and then we'll have private phone number, for example, cell phone number, whatever the case is. All right. So if you come down here and right click, you could do what am I looking for here? We could write the code, or we could create the constructor. Where am I looking at? Hold on. If you right click, and it is usually an implement button here. Generate. Generate. Let me do that again. So I couldn't find it. Right click. You could write the code, or you could hit generate, and you could just find constructor. It'll list all the items that we want. So I click shift and hit each one and hit OK. Now it creates the constructor for me. I could have wrote that, or if I could just do that in 3 seconds, let's do the 3-second one. It's quicker, right? Easier and better. All right, so we have this information here, and above it, we're going to create another constructor, and it's just going to be just a contact itself. So right click again, and we will do generate again once I find generate and constructor. This time we'll just hit the main model and hit that and hit OK. And we have that constructor. And then we're going to add another constructor down here, and this one's going to only take in the name and the phone number, and we'll talk about why shortly. So hit generate. I'm really good at this part. Creating a constructor. So this one right here is just going to have name and phone number. So we're only going to select those two. So I hit shift and went down. Now we have that. So now within a short period of time, we have 3 constructors that we'll be utilizing here. You know, with constructors, you need getters and setters. If you learn that in CIT, probably CIT 111 or 30, touch that. So this is actually going to be easier than writing the code in Eclipse. So we're going to right click and hit generate, and we're going to come down to getters and setters, and we need a getter and a setter for everything. So I'm going to shift and everything and hit OK, and just right there. So that way, because these right here are going to be our initial variables that we use across the board. And then we have our constructor set up to go and say, hey, this equals that. And that way we're able to get stuff and set stuff at the same time. All right, so I'm looking at this. This should be good. So you just want to validate that you have everything. You have a getter and a setter for everything. So we have ID, name, and phone. So we have a getter for ID. We have one for, we have a get and a set. Perfect. We have a get and set for name, and we have a get and set for phone number. That's perfect. All right, so let's see what else. So let's go over to data and right click on it and create a new class for that as well. And we will call it, you can call this anything. It doesn't, oops. database handler, and I'll hit OK. All right, so let's, if I remember this, that's not what I want. Make it a little bit bigger. All right, so we have this class here. So let's, all right, so we have public class data. So let's extend a class that we're going to be using. So extends, and we want to use the SQLite open helper. If I can find it, SQLite open helper. That's what we want to do. Imports the SQLite. Now we need to implement some methods here. So right click on this little light bulb, implement methods. Automatically selects this, hit OK. That should almost disappear, but it didn't. Yeah, that's all right. We're gonna have to add some other information here as well. All right, let's see. Let's hit enter. I think we need a constructor here, so let's right click, and we're gonna choose generate and constructor, and let's see what we need. All right, let's try the first one. I think it's right, but we'll find out if it's wrong in a minute here. All right, let's see here. So it creates a public database handler, context, string. Yeah, this looks good. I think this is right. Perfect. Almost there. Let's close out of this. I'm just closing out all this stuff right here. So we're gonna create another package. So right click on Java, new package. Where you at? Oh my geez. All right, so same location. I'm gonna call it utilities. Some people usually reference it as utils. I'm gonna call it utilities. So these would be functions. So we're basically setting up a model view control type of setup. All right, so right click on new. We're gonna choose a class, and we will call it utilities again. Or maybe keep it. Let's call it utility. Utility.java. Perfect. Let me increase this a little bit. All right, perfect. So we have package utilities. We have our public class. So we're gonna be doing some code here as well. I wanted to show you something before we get into this real quick. Let me go back to Sublime real quick. So we talked about this table right here. So in a relational database, if I was going to create a table, I would say create table, and then I would give it something like database owner, and I give a name of table like drivers, and then it would be like oops. Oops, no, I got it wrong. And then you have an open close bracket, and then you would do like your variables. So for example, driver's license number, you do integer, and then say for example last name, you would give it the type of thing. It would be like a varchar, and you put like the space in there, say like 50, and then comma, and then say like first name. I just want to give you an example. You would do something like that, okay, and that would create your table. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a table for like our that we did on our getters and setters, like ID, name, and phone number. So how we would do that is we would have ID, we would have name, and we'd have phone number, which would be phone number in our case would probably be a varchar 10. Okay, so this is how you would do it from a SQL standpoint. SQLite is a little bit different, so I'm going to show you how we're going to do it from SQLite standpoint. So it's going to be a little tricky. So if you've taken a database class, it's going to be like, what is this? This is a different way of allowing us to do this. So this right here is going to be our database version. I forgot about that. I always forget about that. So I have to put that in lowercase. Database version. And what we'll have here is we'll have a private static final, and we'll call it int, and we'll call it oh geez, I can't put shift and U, so I have to put a caps lock. I forget that. Oops here. No. All right, so I'm put database version, DB version equals 1. We'll do private static final string, and we'll do DB underscore name, and we'll put equals contacts. I'll just put contacts. That's the name of our database. And then we'll say private static final string, and we'll say table name equals, oh geez, we might want to change this. We'll make it contacts, so we can't have the same thing there. So let's go back up here, make that database. Perfect. So that reference it. All right. So now we have to create our table columns, or let's call them table attributes or column names. Same thing. So we'll say private static final string key ID. So we'll say key ID equals ID. So we'll reference the key ID is going to be the ID value. We'll say the private static final string, and this will be the key name equals name. So as you notice here, we're grabbing the values that are equal things. So let's do this. You could copy and paste this, and it'll probably be easier instead of writing it out. So I'm gonna copy, paste, and I'm gonna just change it instead of key name. I'm gonna use key phone number, so I could actually use some of that. So I'll make that uppercase. Phone number, and then it's going to equal phone number, obviously, because that's what we called it, phone number. Perfect. So now we're actually creating our database within programming code, which is pretty awesome to me. So how this is going to work, we have I can't even talk. We have our model, which is our contacts. So that's where we're going to communicate these two things together. So this is just a utility that we could have multiple utilities, but for our database, we're going to have our database here. It's going to use this to know what the table is and what the column names are, and we're going to communicate with the data model here, which a data model is basically an entity. So we're setting up an entity, which are getters and setters, to be used in our model here. And then our database handler is going to do some of the other work for us. So it's going to use the SQLite open helper. So it's going to use these libraries for us to be able to do what we want to do. Okay, so this is the first video of the SQLite aspect of it. So we'll have some other videos to complete this, so it's not going to be a quick task, but it'll be pretty beneficial, I think. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for another video. Talk soon.